It's time to tap into our inner childhood because we're looking at a dinosaur. Welcome to Make a Monster, where we break down a movie and its monster and turn it into a foe for your tabletop adventure. In this episode, we're exploring the 1959 stop-motion classic, The Giant Behemoth. Directed by Eugene Laurie, featuring special effects by the legendary Willis O'Brien. The film stars Gene Evans as Steve Carnes and Andre Morel as Professor James Bickford as they play characters with the most British names ever and attempt to stop a giant radioactive dinosaur. No, it's not Godzilla. Godzilla's too special to me. That has to be like a milestone episode. The film is a very close copy to its predecessor, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Arguably a much better film and one of the original giant monster movies. But the creature in The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is just a dinosaur. It doesn't have any special features, which doesn't lend itself to being as interesting as a D&D creature. The movie opens with Steve Carnes delivering a speech to the British Scientific Society led by Professor James Bickford about the dangers of nuclear testing on marine life. Before Carnes can return to the United States, an actual real-life example of his concern materializes when a fisherman in Low, Cornwall, is killed on the beach. And his dying word is Behemoth. Getting them Godzilla vibes here. Later, thousands of fish are found dead washed ashore. Carnes and Bickford travel to Cornwall to investigate a fisherman's death as well as a wrecked passenger ship. Back in London, the two scientists discover that samples of the dead fish they found contain heavy amounts of radioactive contamination. Carnes begins to suspect that the behemoth the fisherman was describing is some kind of large marine animal that's been mutated as a result of nuclear testing. The next attack is on a farm near the coast of Essex, and photos unveil a giant footprint, and paleontologist Dr. Sampson identifies the creature as a Paleosaurus, an aquatic dinosaur that emits an electrical pulse like an electric eel. Carnes believes that the dinosaur is saturated with radiation, which is transmitted by the electrical pulse, resulting in burns on multiple victims. The radiation is also slowly killing the creature, according to Dr. Sampson. The creature will likely try to come upstream to shallow water where it was born to actually meet its end, but unfortunately the death by radiation is not going to come quick enough to prevent it from decimating London. Carnes and Bickford persuade the authorities to close the River Thames, but the military officers believe that their radar tracking system will be enough to detect the behemoth. The dinosaur appears to be invisible to the radar. Dr. Sampson and some other scientists spot it from a helicopter, but unfortunately they get too close and the behemoth kills them. Soon the behemoth surfaces in the Thames and capsizes the Woolwich ferry. Take that, you stupid ferry. You name like Woolwich. Rising from the river, the creature brings ruin to the city. Bickford and Carnes advised the military that the best way to kill the beast would be to administer a heavy dose of radium, hoping to accelerate the radiation sickness. While they prepare the dose, the behemoth continues to rampage through the city, eventually plummeting through the London Bridge back into the River Thames. Carnes and Bickford set their plan in action. An X-class submarine with Carnes on board carries a torpedo filled with radium into the Thames in pursuit of the creature. They succeed in firing the torpedo into the creature's mouth, and the behemoth roars in pain. As Carnes and Bickford climb into a car to leave the area, they hear a radio report of dead fish washing up on eastern shores of the United States. It's a 1950s movie. They kind of really wrap up those endings. We ain't getting no Return of the King shit here. This episode's kind of cheating since it gives us something to work with right out of the film. The behemoth is stated to be a Paleosaur, which is a genus of indeterminate archosaur found in the Magnesian conglomerate or the Acon Fisher filler of Clifton, Bristol, England. It was first discovered in 1930 by Henry Riley and Samuel Stutchbury in the Magnesium conglomerate. Magnesian. It's not magnesium, it's Magnesian. The Magnesian conglomerate also housed the discovery of the Conditosaurus. That one's rough to say. They found 2 teeth and they based all their findings off of this. Man, to be a paleontologist back in the day would have just been great. You see those bones over there? It belongs to the shut the fuck up-osaurus, a new genus of don't give a shitus. You can make Latin names out of anything. In 1959, conveniently, when the movie came out, German paleontologist Oskar Kuhn noticed that the genus Paleosaur was preoccupied, so he created a new name, Paleosauricus. Paleosauricus. In 2007, Peter Galton reviewed the 1834 findings and reaffirmed that the 2 teeth as well as the femur that was found actually belonged to a phytosaur, essentially the ancestors of alligators and crocodiles. This thing has had one dicey taxonomic ride, and I have done a very poor job of reading out my script because of all the Latin names. When writing the film, they didn't actually have a creature. It was supposed to be a blob of radiation. The creature in the film is a sauropod fused with a plesiosaur. Its swimming motion is akin to that of sea turtles, but when it's on land, its limbs move underneath it to a vertical position, which is required as its bone structure is needed to support the weight of the entire beast. It's kind of tough to get a gauge on the creature's height, but based on shots next to the buildings that we can see, we can guess that it's around 40 to 50 feet tall.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
A unique feature to the creature is its ability to emit radiation, which is tied to its ability to emit electricity. Now, unlike Godzilla, who is a creature born of radiation and exists while being radioactive and not having it do any harm, the dinosaur in this film is actually being killed by its radiation. Now, the electricity thing. The electric eel is a freshwater fish found in South America. It generates electricity via 3 main organs. The mane, the hunter, and the sax organ. Sax. The 3 organs allow the eel to emit both high and low voltage. The current known max charge is 600 volts. Not lethal to humans, but enough to stun its prey, being small fish and such. When the eel identifies its prey, its brain sends a signal to the main organ, which opens ion channels allowing sodium to flow through it, reversing the polarity momentarily. This sudden difference in electrical potential generates an electrical current like a battery, in which the cells are stacked to produce the desired voltage. Okay, we know about the creature, let's turn it into an amphibious terror for your players, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Behemosaur, banished from his homeland for practicing forbidden magics. A wizard turned warlock now makes his home deep in the savage forest to the east of his home, where he plots his revenge and practices his evil magics. The more he used the cursed spells, the more the land around the fortress became twisted, infected by the blight. It was not long before the creatures of the forest fell victim to his machinations. Bears, fish, birds all became infected and spread the rot. While terrible enough, things got out of hand when a giant creature, the Behemosaur, wandered too close to the tainted land. Now this gentle giant is a tortured soul, wreaking havoc and spreading the blight as it slowly claims its life. The Behemosaur is a neutral, huge beast with 18 AC, 230 HP. Its large size doesn't slow it down that much with a move speed of 45 and a swim speed of 60. 25 strength, 12 dex, 21 con, 6 int, 6 whiz, and 7 charisma. With damage resistant to lightning and damage vulnerability to necrotic, this beast is a challenge rating of 10. The Behemosaur has the ability Stable, which gives it advantage on strength saves that would knock it prone. With a devastating multi-attack, the Behemosaur makes 2 claws and 1 bite attack for each turn. It also has a tail swipe ability that on a failed dex check knocks the target prone. Its gimmick is Necrotic Wave. When the behemoth is struck, it may use a reaction to emit a necrotic wave of energy in a 10-foot radius around it. Each creature in range must succeed on a DC 16 Constitution saving throw or take 2d12 necrotic damage and is unable to move for 1 turn. Big and dumb, but not necessarily evil. The Behemosaur is a tragic monster. Not knowing what to do this week for an episode, I stumbled across the Giant Behemoth, and I remember watching it as a kid. Even though it really is just a beast from 20,000 fathoms meets Godzilla knockoff with all the subtlety of a baseball bat to the side of the head, it has its charm. With the special effects work, the film settles into a soft little nook in my heart, and it's really worth a watch if you enjoy any old B-movies.